Start with a flea flicker to open up the night. And he connects with Galladay.
Sup, everybody, and welcome to the Flea Flicker with Joey D and Timmy B. We are picking the Week 9 games, and we have a guest again. This is one of my best friends in the entire world, Mr. Colt Miles. Colt, how are you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing Jim Dandy, my friend. It's Saturday afternoon. The sun is shining. I'm ready to talk some football.
Absolutely. And Joe, how are you doing today?
Oh, we're doing great. It's a wonderful day for the city of Philadelphia. So, gotta represent.
Hey, especially on a bye week. So glad we could still throw in the Philadelphia.
Yeah, you definitely can't lose if you don't play.
Exactly.
Right.
But Philadelphia still got to win this weekend, so I'm all about it.
Absolutely. And let's talk about the Thursday night game real quick. The Packers won 34-17. Joe and I both picked the Packers. Colt, I assume that you picked the Packers as well, so we'll just give you the win. Yeah. And we'll kick it off to our guest. Colt, what were your thoughts from the Packers dominating the 49ers and Aaron Rodgers still doing his thing?
So, sorry, I'm moving along here. I got Easy A in the background. Honestly, man, I didn't really see too much from it. I watched the whole game. I think just Green Bay looks good. The only thing I'm worried about is just their defense is suspect, which is strange because they haven't lost anybody. Jair Alexander got hurt, so I'm not sure what that's going to be like for them. But I mean, A-Rod's A-Rod, and I think they're good. And if he can just keep playing the FU for drafting Jordan Love tour, I think they're a threat in the NFC.
Absolutely, yeah, and that the Packers defense is a little suspect. I kind of like what I saw from Nick Mullins and a couple of these no-name receivers, stepping up big and making some good catches. Joe, how about yourself? Thoughts from the Packers 49ers?
Yeah, I mean, big shout out to Richie James. I mean, they lost, but he had a huge day. Really, kind of helped build his brand a little bit. Hopefully get himself a little bit more playing time, or maybe move on to another team who snaps him up whenever he becomes available. So I thought that was really cool, and just a cool opportunity for a lot of young guys, a lot of guys who definitely wouldn't get an opportunity to play this year otherwise. For the 49ers, I thought that was cool. Unfortunately, it didn't really help their chances of winning that game because, like Colt said, I mean, Aaron Rodgers is a bad man. He came out hot and firing to Devontae Adams all game. I am concerned about their defense for the playoffs. I do think that with Aaron Rodgers, you're always a threat to win. But I mean, Aaron Jones is also a threat to run the ball as well, which will definitely help when it gets cold in the playoffs. But that's my concern about their defense. They can't stop the run. So, the way that teams are going to be able to play them is ball control offense, keep the ball away from Aaron Rodgers and just run the ball down your throat. And that's how you win in December. So that's my concern for the Packers. Can their defense hold up long term? I think, they're going to have to get a pretty high playoff spot to have home field advantage and, just have a little bit more of an edge going into the playoffs with that defense there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said, Joe. And that's Thursday night football. So, fellas, it's time to pick some Week 9 football games. We're kicking off in Atlanta. We got the Denver Broncos going on the road to the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons are a 4-point favorite, and the over-under is set at 50. Joe, we'll kick it off with you. Thoughts from this game and who you got?
Yeah, I mean, I've been saying this about the Broncos since the beginning. I really like their team, their makeup. They've been hit real hard with injuries this year. But Vic Fangio has proven he's a really good coach, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Even without Von Miller and a couple other studs, they're able to, make some really great plays and just stifle a lot of, top offenses like the Kansas City Chiefs. So I'm going to go with the Broncos in this game. I think that they're fighting. They still have a shot. It's an outside shot to get into the playoffs. But I mean, Von Miller also is saying that he's going to be back later this year. So I mean, if they're competing, if they're they have a shot to make the playoffs in the wild card spot. So I think that they just have something to fight for. Atlanta does not. And they in Atlanta's best games, it's like their offense does great, their defense is just terrible, and they both offense defense do well, special teams let you down. It's always something for Atlanta. So I think they're going to find a way to lose, and the Broncos are going to find a way to win.
Well said. Colt, thoughts on who you got in Broncos Falcons?
Taking a peek at it, I'm going to respectfully disagree. Only thing I saw that kind of concerned me is that AJ Bouye, they're already saying he's out with a concussion for the Broncos. I think that's their number one corner. And I know Ridley and Julio will both be in. I just honestly like went with like my gut feeling when I just like saw the matchup and it being at Atlanta. I was like, I just had this random feeling like Atlanta's about to just like have one of their Atlanta games where like they just go off and the defense like does enough to party. And there's like, whoa, like Atlanta's kind of good. Like, where did these guys come from? Plus, like, I think with it being at Atlanta is a big deal too. Like, with being inside the dome. Um, Honestly, with Denver, it is AJ Bouye. Like, I see Philip Lindsay's questionable. I feel like their offense is so much better when they play Philip Lindsay versus Melvin Gordon. And I even have Melvin Gordon on my fantasy team, so it benefits me greatly when they play Melvin Gordon. But like watching it, like Joseph Lindsay just looks, or I'm sorry, I saw Joseph, Philip Lindsay just looks so much better. So I think the Falcons will find a way to kind of like right the ship a little bit, like with have a couple of their DNs out too. So I think they'll find a way to win that game.
Yeah, I'm with Colt. I think I'm going to regret picking the Falcons. I always seem that to pick the Falcons and then they lose, and we'll bet on them, they lose. But this is a game that I think that they should win. I actually saw Calvin Ridley being questionable, and he was projected 0 fantasy points. So I subbed in Valdez Scantling. So that was a good move by me.
Oh, that's nice.
But I'm going with the Falcons. I think Vic Fangio will do enough to get his defense against this Falcons offense. But I think on the flip side, and I know I picked the Broncos last week, and I am a little bit of a believer in Drew Lock, but I think they're still a young offense, and I think the Falcons have really bounced back since the firing of Dan Quinn to at least be competitive and in a position to win games. And Colt said it too, being in the dome, being at home, this is huge for the Falcons. I'm going with the Falcons as well. So glad first game. We're kind of on different sides.
Yeah, this is a good game. I mean, I think it could go either way for sure.
Yeah, and now we're moving to maybe a game that we're all going to pick the same team. We have the Houston Texans, a 7-point road favorite at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Gardner Minshew is out. Jake Luton is the starting quarterback for the Jaguars, rookie out of Oregon State. The over-under is also 50 for this game. So we'll kick it off to Colt first. Colt, thoughts from this game and who you got winning?
Yeah, not much. I think it's the Texans. I think a funny thing I heard, Doug Marrone, when during the week, they were like, oh, like they'll go to Mike Lennon. Doug Marrone just literally goes, yeah, we know we have in Mike Lennon, but let's just see what the kid Jake Luton's got. Oh my God, poor Mike Lennon. Like, he's made millions over his career just being like a subpar like quarterback. So, yeah, like late round pick out of Oregon State, like I can't really see him doing much. But I mean, that's what we said about Gardner, and he had some Minshew magic last year. But I think the Texans are fine. They held on to Will Fuller too, which was big. I think that'll be good for them. And yeah, I just think the Texans are going to win that game.
Yeah, and I predicted the Jaguars to go 1-15. They still have one win, so I legally have to pick against them. So I'm going with the Texans as well. I think coming off the bye also helps. I mean, I think both teams are coming off the bye, so I think that helps both sides. I think it helps the Texans a little bit more with holding on to Will Fuller. That offense is going to put up enough points, and I just can't pick against a 6th, 7th round pick out of Oregon State and the Jaguars. So I'm going with the Texans. Joe, any other thoughts? Are you going Jags? Are you going crazy here?
No, I mean, you guys pretty much said it all. I think if Gardner Minshew was starting, I think I would have gone with the Jaguars just because I really don't think that the Texans are a good team at all either. And I think this is one of those games where Gardner Minshew would have some of that Minshew magic, but he's not playing. So, yeah, I'm not counting on that 6th round pick to also have some type of magic there. So, yeah, no, it's going to be the Texans.
Absolutely. So we're all riding the Texans on this game. Next up, we are moving to Kansas City, and the Carolina Panthers are on the road. The Chiefs are a 10.5-point home favorite. As of right now, the over-under is set at 52.5. The Panthers have activated Christian McCaffrey. My big question is, how much will he play? Will he be the same old, he's getting all of the workload, or are they going to ease him back in, maybe only 10 to 15 touches from this game? Joe, we'll kick it off to you. Thoughts and who you got in Panthers Chiefs?
Yeah, that's definitely my question as well. How do they use McCaffrey and how effective is he? And then what is Mike Davis's role now, after he proved that, he definitely adds some value and has a skill set for this offense. So I kind of think that what they're going to do is use McCaffrey in between the 20s and then Mike Davis in the red zone. I'm obviously that's also what I'm hoping for because I have him in a bunch of fantasies, so I need those red zone touchdowns. So we'll see, fingers crossed. But I mean, the only way that they're going to be able to have a chance to stay close in this game is if they can play ball control offense. and, be able to run the ball effectively with both McCaffrey and Davis and Bridgewater. I mean, they have some weapons on the outside, and, Robbie Anderson and out of Maryland, I'm forgetting his name right now, DJ Moore.
DJ Moore, yeah.
Yes. So, yeah, I mean, they have guys that can put up the points, but the Panthers aren't there yet. I mean, it's a rookie head coach. They're such a young team. Andy Reid and the Chiefs are a veteran offense and defense that, just came off a Super Bowl win. I think they're going to win this game. I think they're going to cover as well. I'd take Chiefs big time in this game.
Colt, thoughts on who you got in Panthers Chiefs?
Yep. So I agree with you, Joe. I think it's the Chiefs. I mean, even as a Ravens fan, like you watch that Week 3 game against the Chiefs, like they're just on another level right now. Like they're playing their asses off. I have this weird feeling though that I think the line, I look at it right now, it's minus 10.5. I feel like the Panthers covered that.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but like they're getting McCaffrey back. They're not bad. Like I always feel good for those like coaches, especially when they come from college, like Matt Rule, like that actually get something going.
Mm-hmm.
And like there's like not a joke, like I got like Joe Judge, like the Giants, like
Chip Kelly.
Right.
Like, don't get me started.
It's pretty like I'm happy for him. And like Eddie Bridgewater's underrated, I think. He's like a step above game manager. I agree with you, like you were saying, Joe. Like they maybe find a way to eke out a couple long drives because you can run on the Chiefs. Like you can run on them. So like I feel like they'll try to stick to it with McCaffrey, just matriculate the ball down the field, as their old Chiefs head coach would say. So I think Chiefs win, but Panthers cover.
Yeah, I think the Chiefs will win as well. I do kind of like the Panthers covering. I think 10.5 is a lot, especially with McCaffrey back. But then again, how much will he be playing is the big question. But one thing I'm really looking forward to is this young Panthers defense going up against the best offense maybe ever in the NFL, certainly for this year with Pat Mahomes and all those weapons. So, hey, maybe if they only, hold them to 24, 27 points, you can kind of put that on your shoulders and say, hey, like we held them under 30 points, and maybe that gets you some momentum for when you play offense is not as good later in the season to make a playoff push. But I have the Chiefs winning. There's no doubt about that. I do kind of like the Panthers to cover. I'm kind of with Colt. I think 10.5 is a lot right now, and we'll see how it changes. We'll see how that changes, especially if we find out how much Christian McCaffrey will be playing. But now we're moving on to the stinker of the day, and of course, it's the NFC East, Joe. We have the New York Football Giants at the Washington Football Team. The football team is actually a 2.5-point favorite right now. The over-under is at 43. I think this is pretty simple. I'm going with the football team. They almost beat the Giants a couple of weeks ago. They needed a 2-point conversion to win. They went for the win. They didn't get it. Coming off the bye and having a couple extra weeks with Kyle Allen as the starting quarterback, I like the football team. The Giants are still so beaten up, and I think Wayne Gallman and the running backs for the Giants just won't do enough against the Washington front seven and all of their weapons on them defensively, and I just can't trust Daniel Jones right now to win it with his arm. So I'm going with the football team. Kicking it off to you, Colt. Thoughts and who you got in Giants football team?
So I don't know why, but even just whenever I watch the football team, I like their defense. Like I think it's really solid. I just like what they've been doing there. Yeah, the quarterback Collins not bad, and they're starting to kind of figure out that they have something in Antonio Gibson. They definitely have something in Terry McLaurin. That dude is just clean. He's a clean
unbelievable.
Guy. So I think Washington football team finds a way to win. Something to consider here, though. This season, New York is actually 5-3 versus the spread. So it's a 2.5. So it might be a classic, duke it out NFC East like slugfest, and maybe the football team finds a way to win. But I say Washington.
Well, hey, good teams win, great teams cover. So I guess the Giants are a pretty good team. Joe, this is your division, so we'll kick it away to you to end this game. Thoughts on who you got from Giants football team?
Yeah, so I'm going to give you a couple stats real quick. So since the boat picture with Odell Beckham, Sterling Shepard, all those guys on the boat before the playoff game, the Giants are 11-44.
That's not good.
It's not good. And they are, I believe, 8-3 against the Giants or against the football team in that time. So the Giants have been able to – this is the one team that the Giants have been able to beat. they hung with the Bucs last week. I think that Joe Judge and his team are going to look at that game and say, hey, like, we were within 2 points of this game and a couple turnovers of sneaking this out against one of the top teams in the NFC. They beat this team a couple weeks ago. I think they're going to have some confidence right now. I'm going to go with the football team to keep that streak going against the I'm going to pick the Giants to keep that streak going against the football team. But I do think that the football team is the biggest threat to the Eagles in the NFC East, unfortunately. Unfortunately, I think the Eagles are the favorite, but I think if there's a team that would be able to beat to win the division, they have a good defense. I mean, that defense is like, I think it's like ranked 4th in DVOA. And they've got like just such a good front seven. That run game, like Colt said, is starting to come together with Antonio Gibson and Terry McLaurin as a threat. So, I mean, they could very well win this game and win it easily. Both these teams are not good, but I'm gonna go with the Giants here.
Love that, Joe. Thank you for all those stats. And now we're moving on to a very interesting game. And Colt will talk about this. We have the Baltimore Ravens at the Indianapolis Colts. The line has gone many different ways. I saw earlier in the week the Ravens were a 3-point, 2-point favorite. Last night the Colts were favored, especially with all the Ravens on the positive list. Now, 6 players just got activated from that list. So our defense won't be as injured or not playing. So now it's a pick 'em. The over-under is 48, and there's a lot of history between these two teams. 9 years ago, or I'm sorry, not 9 years ago, a couple of days ago, about 25, 26 years ago, the NFL announced a football team was coming back to Baltimore after the Colts left. We can see right here, John Unitas, the Golden Colt, the Ravens on this side. There's a lot of history. Colt, you are actually named after the Baltimore Colts, so we'll kick it off to you. You're also a Ravens fan like myself. So what are your thoughts from this Ravens-Colts game, and who do you have winning?
I agree with you, Tim. A lot of history. I'm very familiar with it. I mean, I hate when people are like, oh, like, do you like the Colts? I'm like, no, that's a stupid question. Why would I like the Colts? So, especially being a Baltimore fan. It really is a pick 'em, man. I mean, I've been a huge Lamar Jackson guy since day one. Like, of course, I'm going to sound like one of those people, I guessed that we would draft him that year. Like, obviously, I don't know what I'm talking about, but, like, I had a feeling. I've loved him since day one. And the last few games, something's like off. Like, I don't know if he's hurt or like his confidence wane, like what they're doing in the offense, but like the offense just seems to be having this identity crisis. And the Colts defense is good. Like, the only reason I know it's because I have them in fantasy, and it's just fun to say like, hey, my D is really good, and like I can just keep saying it to them. Your cover doesn't like it at all, but like it's just a very fun joke that I keep getting to make. I feel like, looking at this game, they're at Indianapolis. Who knows what Jim what's his name? Jim Irsay?
Yeah. Jim Irsay.
Who knows what he's going to do with the roof right before game time. But I hate to say it, I feel like I might have to go with the Colts. I just don't like what I've been seeing from the Ravens this year. Like, they haven't been playing well. Like, they had a okay game against the Steelers, but they really beat themselves up a lot. And I think it just reminds us, really, like, it's still just a young team, and Lamar's still trying to figure out how to lead these guys. I don't have a doubt in my mind that we'll be a great team, like, with Lamar at the helm, like, for years to come. But right now, like, they gotta figure out who they are, and I think they're gonna run into. They never, like, the Ravens have always been tough with Phil Rivers. Like, it's always been a tough one that we play.
Yeah,
I feel like Sunday, that they may find a way. And they have Darius Leonard back now too in the Colts too. He's just a big guy for that defense. So it'll be a pick 'em, but I think Colts might get it.
All right, well, I'm locking you into Colts. I'm writing it in pen right now. So.
Oh God, and it's recording. God, I'm never gonna live this.
Yeah. I think I agree with you. I'm going to pick the Ravens to win. I think the big thing that comes down to, and I know maybe this is our previous guest, Josh, convincing me. He thinks Phillip Rivers is overrated. I know Phillip Rivers gives the Ravens trouble, but the Colts run game is not only injured, but we don't know who's going to come. Is it going to be Jonathan Taylor? Is he healthy? Is it Jordan Wilkins? Is it going to be Nyheim Hines? And I think the big thing is, yes, we are without Marlon Humphrey. We still have Marcus Peters. We still have Chuck Clark. We still have Jimmy Smith. We still have a bunch of guys in the secondary. I think we'll do just enough to put it in Phillip Rivers' arms. And I haven't seen that from the Colts offense this year. Phillip Rivers is, getting older. He's a little bit more vulnerable. So I'm going with the Ravens in this game. I don't want to pick against them. And I think being inside in the dome, yes, the Colts D is very good. Colt, you have a very nice D. Darius Leonard's back is huge for them. That, you know, the difference is amazing. They're top 3 with him and like average without him. But I think being in the dome, it's not going to be raining, thank God. Like most of the Ravens games, it always seems to be raining. I think this is a good bounce back game for our offense, a good defense to go up against in the dome. It's going to be a little bit fast turf. So I'm going with the Ravens. It might come down to a special teams and a Justin Tucker kick. So I trust Justin Tucker more than any other kicker in the NFL. But Joe, we'll kick it off to you, or not kick it off. We'll end it with you. Colts, Ravens. Give me some of your thoughts and who's your pick?
Yeah, I guess going into this game a few days ago when it looked like the Ravens defense was going to be depleted, I was leaning towards the Colts. With these players coming back, I really think this is going to be a low-scoring defensive slugfest. I think that the Ravens defense is that good, and the Colts offense's skill positions just aren't really there. I mean, I don't think T.Y. Hilton is playing. I think he's doubtful. Was he already rolled out?
Yeah,
I think he's still doubtful,
okay.
But yeah.
Just always assume he never plays. Just assume.
Yeah, exactly. He's not going to play. I mean, Michael Pittman. He hasn't done that much. Like, their skill positions just do not scare me. So even without Marlon Humphrey, I think Phillip Rivers is going to have a tough day. And while I love the Colts defense, I also have normally liked the Ravens offense, but not really this year. So I just really see both teams struggling to put points on the board. So I'm going to go with the Ravens because I think that they're more well equipped to win those low scoring games. And I think they're going to be able to run the ball better than the Colts can.
Love it. Colt, last chance. I do have a little bit of room to scratch out this ink.
Just leave it.
Because
then it's a win-win. If we lose, I'm like, well, I did call it, and then if the Ravens win, I'm like, all right, cool, like they won. So.
Fair point. Now we're moving to the team that unfortunately beat the Ravens in the playoffs last year, in the Tennessee Titans. They're hosting Nick Foles and the Chicago Bears. The Titans are a 6.5-point favorite. The over-under is at 47. Joe, we'll kick it off to you because you love Nick Foles so much. Talk to us about the Bears-Titans game.
Yeah, I mean, that loss last week to the Bengals just really raises so many questions about the Titans. I mean, if they had won that game and won it like handily, like everybody expected them to, then I don't think this would be a close game. I don't think that we would be, really debating it. Now I think it's going to be a good game. I think it's, that Bears defense is legit. And if they can slow down Derrick Henry, maybe force some Ryan Tannehill turnovers. I mean, if the Bengals can force some Ryan Tannehill turnovers, I would hope the Bears defense can.
Right.
So I think that's what it's going to come down to. I think it's going to be the turnover battle. But Nick Foles turns the ball over at an alarmingly high rate, as does Mitchell Trubisky if they end up having to trot him out. So I'm going to go with the Titans to turn the ball over less and Derrick Henry to be able to do just enough on the ground. I don't think he goes over 100 yards. I don't think it's a great game for the Tennessee offense, but I think they're going to be able to do just enough to get the win.
Yeah, I broken record right here. The Titans defense is bad when we thought it would be good, but they're giving up 30 points to all these teams. This is a good defense for Nick Foles and this Bears offense to get that momentum, score some points, and, elevate their offense and make a final season push for a good playoff seed to that 5 seed where you're playing the NFC East winner in the wild card weekend. But okay. I just can't trust the Bears offense to do that right now with Nick Foles. Until I see it happen, I'm not going to pick them. I'm going with the Titans as well, Joe. I do think that they bounce back a little bit. I think this is going to be a low-scoring game. The Titans will pull it out just enough. I do like Bears plus 6.5. I think the Bears will cover, but I think the Titans will win. Colt, kicking it to you, man. Who do you got in Bears-Titans?
So I think, you just said at the end there, I think the Titans win and the Bears cover. Bears have a 5-3 record this year against the spread. Last week, the Titans didn't get a single sack on Joe Burrow. The Bengals' offensive line is atrocious. It's like a bunch of Madden creative players on there.
Right.
And yet they didn't get a single sack. And you have Jadeveon Clowney and Harold Landry on the edges. The fact that you can't get a single sack is shocking. Clowney's questionable. Bears' offensive line is not very good either. But it's just one of these games it's like an ugly matchup with these teams. They both have just their warts. And I think, at the end of the day, the Titans just have enough talent on the offensive side of the football to just like, you know, they're like, all right, let's just give it to Derrick Henry like 30 times and get the hell out of here. Like, and I think they'll just find a way to win. But yeah, it'll be like you said, Joe, just an ugly kind of game. And I think Titans win, but it won't. I don't think they'll blow them out or anything.
Right.
Awesome. So we're all on the Titans for this one. Bears will cover, though. Now we're moving to one of the better games of the day. The Seattle Seahawks are a 3-point road favorite at the Buffalo Bills. We've been saying measurement. I think this is a great measurement game for the Bills to say, hey, we are this 11-5, 12-4 contender, and not just the 10-6 AFC East winner. And maybe we win the wild card game. This is a good game for them to go up against the Seahawks defense. Can Josh Allen and the Bills bounce back after last month of lackluster offense and turning the ball over, only kicking field goals, bad red zone efficiency? And then fun stat for you guys, the Seahawks are 9-0 in their last 9 games, obviously, on the East Coast. So, you know, West Coast to East Coast is not a problem for the Seahawks. They find a way to win the game. So I still can't pick against Russell Wilson and the Seahawks. I think Russ is going to cook a little bit against an average defense. I'll say now we thought they would be good, but they're pretty much average. The over-under is at 55. I love the over in this game. I do think the offense of Josh Allen's offense does bounce back a little bit and put up points, but I think Russell Wilson and the Seahawks offense will be too much for them. I like the Seahawks. I like the over. Colt, thoughts on who you got in Seahawks-Bills?
I think I agree with you, Tim. I think Seahawks. It's been pretty cool this year that they're finally letting Russ cook, and like DK Metcalf, man, is a unit. Like, God, Lord, is he good? And I know even like they don't really need that. Like, they can just stick any running back in there. They seem to do the job, and I think Russ just has that. He's in like that. He runs like that prime like Aaron Rodgers kind of feel where like they're just calling their own plays like at the line, like making all these adjustments. Like he's in that like that mode where he just knows that what he needs to do to win the game. The Bills have been a lot like the Ravens this past month, where they're just you watch them and you're just like, man, what is going? Like you just don't get a good feel. You just have no idea like what's going on there. And their defense is, I think, supposedly it was supposed to be really, really good. I drafted them this year in fantasy. I was very ecstatic about it. Boy, was I wrong. Luckily, my D is really good, so it's okay. But I think like even though it's at Buffalo, if you had fans there, this would be a different story. But I think the Seahawks, keep the train rolling, and I think they find a way to win. And hammer that over. That's gonna be a fun one.
All right, Joe, thoughts on who you got in Seahawks Bills?
Yeah, I've been saying it for a long time. I think Russell Wilson should win MVP every single year because of what he continues to do without any supporting cast on offense. And now they've finally given him, 2 legit outside threats in DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. They've got a couple okay tight ends. Chris Carson, when he's healthy, is a pretty good running back. They need to get the O-line together. But, Russ is cooking right now. He's just in the zone. Outside of that Cardinals game, he's just been, on fire and hasn't made many mistakes at all this year. So I think that he's going to keep that going against Buffalo. I think Josh Allen's going to turn the ball over a few times, not punch it in the red zone when they really need him to. I think this game the score might end up being a little bit closer than I think that people who watch the game will feel that it was. I think that the Seahawks are going to control this game for the majority of it.
Yeah, and I don't want to say this is a must-win for the Bills, but I said about a minute ago that it's a good measurement game for them, and it's like, hey, NFL, like, we are that, like I said, 11-5, 12-4 legit contender. In a couple of weeks, they do have the Steelers on Sunday Night Football. So if they do win, this is a statement for them saying, like, hey, NFL, hey, Steelers, like, we are good. We are coming for you. We're not just going to be that 10-6, 4 seed and maybe win the wild card. So this is a big game for the Bills. I still like the Seahawks in this one. Now we're moving to a game that I forgot to write down just because there was no line on my website. There was no line on ESPN, but the final 1 o'clock game of the day, not game of the day, but the final 1 o'clock game is the Detroit Lions at the Minnesota Vikings. I guess this is just too close to call for the spread or the over-under. So we'll kick it off to you, Joe. Lions, Vikings, thoughts and who you got?
Yeah, I know Kenny Golladay has already been ruled out with the hip injury. Is Stafford out for this game as well? I know he was on the COVID list.
I am unsure right now.
Yeah, I didn't see anything about it.
I believe he was placed on the COVID list at the beginning of the week. I'm not sure if he, has it or was just in contact tracing, but that's, my biggest concern. I mean, I was going to start Marvin Jones in fantasy this week, but if it's not Stafford, I'm not doing that. I don't know. I don't even know who the backup is, so if it's Stafford, I think this is going to be a close game and a good game. I think the Vikings are going to win either way, though. I think Dalvin Cook is going to be running the ball again. He's just on that hot streak coming off 200 yards, 4 touchdowns. If Kirk Cousins can just not turn the ball over, not, fumble it or intercept it away, just be a game manager, just get the ball to Justin Jefferson, let him make some plays after the catch, give Adam Thielen some contested catch opportunities, and hand the ball off to Dalvin Cook. I think that they're going to be able to, eke out this win against the Lions. If Stafford plays, though, he could end up.
I'm going to stop you right there, Joe. I just checked ESPN according to their little depth chart. It says Matt Stafford is out, and the starting quarterback or Matt Stafford's backup is Chase Daniel. Joe, does that change your pick at all?
Chase Daniel, former Eagle. This changes everything. Oh, God. No, it does not. Chase Daniel is at best, game manager. When he had to step in for Alex Smith a few games for the Chiefs, he was able to, I think, eke out a win or two, just, getting the ball to Travis Kelce and a couple other of their players back in the day. But when a couple years ago when the Eagles traded Sam Bradford to the Vikings for that first-round pick, thank you very much, idiots, it was Chase Daniel who was assumed to be the starter right away, but Doug Peterson was like, nah, it's Carson Wentz's team. And Chase Daniel was the backup. So there's a reason that, he's always been a backup, without Kenny Golladay to, really help him out. They're going to cover Marvin Jones and, do their best to shut down this pretty much non-existent run game. The Lions don't have much. So, I don't see this being a close game. Vikings should win this easily.
Yeah, like Colt said with the Bears-Titans, I think the Vikings are just going to hand it off to Dalvin Cook and say, all right, let's just win 17-10 and get the hell out of here. Let's move on to next week. I'm going with the Vikings as well. If Matt Stafford was playing and Kenny Golladay, I might have been picking the Lions just because the Vikings secondary is a little bit vulnerable. I'm surprised Aaron Rodgers didn't tear him up like he did in week 1 last week. But I think Dalvin Cook's going to take it over. They're going to control the clock and just win, get the hell out of there. I'm going with the Vikings. Colts, thoughts on who you got in Lions, Vikings?
Yeah, not really much there. I think it's the Vikings. I think, so they played the Packers last week, right? That was the
correct. They won.
Yeah, they did. That's right. And Dalvin cooked. So I think with this game, the Vikings are like, oh, that's right. Kirk Cousins can't throw the ball, so let's just run the ball again. I think, I just think they're just gonna hammer it with Dalvin Cook, get a couple play action passes to Justin Jefferson and Thielen. And without Stafford and Golladay, I think the Vikings got it. Nothing really there. Maybe the under would probably hit if I had to guess, based on that. Right. But I do love me some Chase Daniels. He's made $30+ million in his career, and he has 7 touchdowns. It's awesome.
Great businessman. Now, if the Vikings lose this game, what do we think happens to Mike Zimmer?
I think they just
2-6.
I think they just ride it out. I think if they win, they do have a very favorable schedule. I believe the next couple of games are the Jaguars, and I don't know. Somebody was saying it the other day. I think it was part of my take, but there was Jaguars and a couple of other easy wins. So if the Vikings do win this game, they could come back to 500 come December for a playoff push. If they lose, I think they're just going to ride out Mike Zimmer throughout the season. I think if you get that 7th, 8th loss, you might as well just be like, hey, a new head coach isn't really going to do anything for us. We're not going to make the playoffs. Let's just ride out Zimmer, ride out the year and fire him. But Joe, do you think differently?
I mean, if Chase Daniels has a big game, and Mike Zimmer's supposed to be one of the top defensive coaches. His defense has been bad this year. And if Chase Daniels without Kenny Golladay, puts up over 20 points, over 30 points, and they win this game, and the Vikings defense is the reason they lost it, and Kirk Cousins, I wouldn't be shocked. He's had a long tenure there. I think he's a good head coach. Oh, and Everson Griffin now on the Lions after getting cut by the Vikings. He was making some comments about how he wants to prove Mike Zimmer wrong. just show him why, he shouldn't have let him go. So someone to watch out for there. So, we'll see what happens. Oh, I just got an update about Golden Tate. He is not traveling with the team due to overall issues with the team.
All right, so
Golden
you
Tate
already
is,
picked
I already picked the Giants. I'm sticking with them.
Yeah, you picked the Giants. Colt. I'm sorry, not Colts. Colt. If the Vikings lose, do you see Mike Zimmer getting fired, or do you think his seat's just getting a little bit hotter?
I think it's just getting a little hotter. I mean, the Vikings, I think they've never been ones, like their organization, I don't think they've been one to just kind of fire coaches like straight up. Like they've always been a pretty reputable organization. I feel like that's just something you kind of see with a lot of these like, lower tier teams. I do think like they would just – it's kind of like how like with the Bengals, like they always made the argument like they're one of those teams like they're very methodical, very patient with their coaches. I mean, clearly they've been patient with Mike Zimmer because he's been there for, like you said, Joe, like a while. I think it'd be something to where – I think by the end of the year, like they'd probably just like retool, and they'd probably, if they wanted to fire him, it'd probably be like by the end of the year.
Yeah, I don't think they can get rid of Kirk Cousins though for at least another year. I mean, his whole contract is guaranteed, if I'm not mistaken. So
Yeah.
I think they have to ride it with them for another year. But I mean, if you have that low of a pick, like maybe you want to go in a direction with an offensive minded coach and get your quarterback of the future. And just pair a new head coach, new quarterback, and kind of just start over. Because I mean, it doesn't seem like they're going in the right direction.
Yeah, and they missed on a good opportunity just hiring within and Kevin Stefanski, who's now in Cleveland. Yeah. But that wraps up the 1 o'clock games. Let's move on to the 4 o'clock games. Only a handful of them again. We're going to start off with what I guess the NFL and the networks will think is the game of the day with the Steelers and the Cowboys. Steelers are a 14-point favorite. The over-under is at 43. Colt, Garrett Gilbert, AAF MVP Garrett Gilbert is the starting quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys.
What?
He is. Yes.
I thought it was Cooper Rush. They changed it?
I believe I saw this morning that they announced Garrett Gilbert as the starter.
Yeah.
But I think we'll keep this simple, guys. Does that change your pick at all, or are we all going with the Steelers here?
No, if anything, it just makes me at least watch the game now. Like that, I see Garrett Gilbert, like I'll have that on. Right. Yeah, I think it's Steelers. Steelers are really good. I mean, good teams find ways to win. I mean, last week I still will say that the Ravens lost that game more so than the Steelers won, but they found ways to come out of it. So I think they're a really good squad. I guess if I really had to say, I want to say Garrett Gilbert covers the spread.
I'm not going to touch this spread. I think 14 is just too much to really go either way. But Joe, do you have any additional thoughts on the Steelers Cowboys? You're just riding Steelers. Obviously.
Oh, I mean, yeah, the Steelers are going to dominate. I mean, that defense is going to make life miserable for the Cowboys. I mean, I don't know why the Eagles weren't blitzing the whole game. We waited until like midway through the fourth quarter to start blitzing. And, that's what just shattered DiNucci's confidence. He couldn't do anything from there. I think the Steelers are going to do that from the start. This Cowboys defense is bad. Don't, get any other thoughts because the Eagles offense is also bad. So that's the only reason they had 4 turnovers last week. Steelers offense is good. They're going to ball out against the Cowboys' atrocious defense. This is not going to be a close game. I would take the over.
Oh, okay. So it's going to be a high-scoring game from the Steelers. Maybe take the team total as well.
I think they're going to cover.
Oh, they're going to cover? Okay, got it.
Yeah,
so let's move on. Let's just move on. Raiders at the Chargers. Right now, this is a pick-em, which I agree with. I think this game could go either way. The over-under is at 52. Joe, give us your thoughts from Raiders-Chargers.
Yeah, I think this is actually going to be a pretty good game. The Raiders' offensive line has been playing really well. And the Chargers' defensive line and defense in general, I think, is vulnerable against the run. So I think this could be a big Josh Jacobs day. Derek Carr mixing plays off play action. I could also see Justin Herbert lighting it up in the passing game. So I think that's really going to be the key for the Raiders. That ball control offense, make sure Josh Jacobs has a good day. But I think this could be a high-scoring game going back and forth. I'm going to go with the Raiders with their veteran team to get this one out against the Chargers. But if Justin Herbert keeps making the plays like he has, the Raiders' defense is vulnerable. He can make some plays down the field. But I think that the Raiders are going to be able to control the ball in this one.
So you're going with the Raiders, Joe?
Yes.
Got it. Colt. Raiders Chargers, thoughts and who you got from this game?
Yeah, I just agree. Like, I saw this matchup, I was like, oh, cool. Like, that just seems like a fun game. It's gonna be in LA. Like, the Chargers with the sexy baby blues on that turf,
Ooh,
like, it
yeah.
just pops off. Like, crazy. Like, I'm looking at these like stats. Like, the Chargers offense, like, second in total yards per game, sixth in passing yards, eighth in rushing yards. Like, their offense is really good. And yet, like, even their defense is like, it's 20th in points per game allowed, like 18th in yards per game allowed. So, like, their record of 2-5 just like doesn't. It screams like they should at least be 500, but it's almost funny. Like, Herbert, like, they're still the same old Chargers. You know, they have like a whole new quarterback.
Yeah.
Potent offense, like defense, and like it's okay, and yet like that record just shows like they never find ways to kind of win. I think it's like you said,
Exactly.
that's where like the veteran team of the Raiders, like having Josh Jacobs. Like, I have Darren Waller on my team, and he's just like, I just love how they use him. Like, yeah, like I think they'll be they'll keep it simple, and I think they'll find a way to win.
All right. Yeah, I mean, this is really a toss-up. I don't know who I'm picking. So just for the sake of being a little bit different, I'm going to go with the Chargers. I know I picked the Broncos last week, and that worked out. This time I'm going with the Chargers. I think Justin Herbert is going to have a great day. They're at home, so we'll go with the Chargers. And now we're moving to probably, I think, which is the best 4 o'clock game. Tua and the Dolphins going on the road to Kyler and the Cardinals. Colt, we'll kick it off to you first. I got to go check something real quick. So, Colt, give us your pick for Dolphins-Cardinals.
Sounds good. So, yeah, I mean, honestly, I didn't really look into this game too much. I guess until like right now, I was like, oh, I forgot that game was this Sunday.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a pretty sweet game. I mean, like, see how Tua does. Like, Cardinals defense is pretty good. Like, it's kind of cool to see Budda Baker's finally getting interceptions now. Like, he just went so like without getting a pick. Like, it was the highest paid safety. Yeah, so I think actually, even looking now, the Dolphins are first in points per game allowed. So I didn't realize their defense.
They have the number 1 scoring defense.
Yeah, that's wild. I think it'll be the Cardinals. It's at Arizona. Dolphins, I think with Tua, like, it was probably like that first game it's the Rams. Like, I'd be kind of surprised to see him really do too much more past that. So I really don't know too much about it, but that's gonna be a fun jerseys game. Like, just seeing like the Dolphins, like I guess the turquoise versus like the Cardinals, and just like 2 short like quarterbacks. Like, that'll be a fun one. So I like that. I like watching that game. I'll say Cardinals.
All right, Joe, thoughts on who you got in the Dolphins and the Cardinals?
Yeah, I'm really excited for this game. I mean, Tua versus Kyler is just such a great matchup, at least on paper. So that's just what I still need to see from Tua, that kind of Kyler Murray-like breakthrough, that Kyler Murray game where, he can make the plays on the ground with his feet, he can extend the plays and, make some big plays down the field. I haven't seen that from Tua yet. I have seen that from Kyler. I've been picking against the Dolphins like consistently this year, and they keep biting me. But I'm going to go with the Cardinals again this time. I just really like what Kyler and Cliff Kingsbury have been doing on the offensive side of the ball. While in the past defense can win championships, and I think Brian Flores is, a great defensive coach and has those guys fired up, and that defense just playing lights out right now. Right now in today's NFL, offense and scoring more points is what wins you championships. So I think that the Cardinals offense is going to be able to put up enough points. And if Tua has a good game, this could very well go the other way. I think that's what it comes down to. If Tua has a good game and the Dolphins defense can, stymie and slow down Kyler Murray, then the Dolphins will win. But if Tua struggles and it's it's kind of both offenses are not doing a lot, then I think the Cardinals will be able to make more plays. So I'm going to right now go with the Cardinals. But like I said, this could very well go the Dolphins' way.
Yeah, I think the thing that it comes down for me in making this pick, I'm going with the Cardinals as well. It's just that we didn't see Tua, dominate last week. He was like 9 for 20, 10 for 20, 100 yards, a couple of turnovers. It was really a defensive game from the Dolphins. So can they do it again? And you said it, Joe, defense does win championships. Brian Flores knows that, coaching some of the great Patriot defenses when they won Super Bowls. But I like the Cardinals in this game. Coming off the bye again, I think coming off the bye is huge. Having 2 weeks to prepare for Tua and that Miami defense, I think Cliff Kingsbury and Kyler Murray will do just enough to win this game. I love the over in this game. I think Tua is going to show why they took him number 5. I don't think it'll be another 10 for 20, 100 yards, touchdown, interception day. I think he's going to get a little bit more comfortable. I like the Cardinals to win this game. So we're all on the Cardinals. Now moving on to Sunday night football.
Breaking news in that game, if you haven't heard this before. Matt Breida out with a hamstring.
Oh, so he is officially out now.
Yep. If I'd have died for every time I heard that.
All right,
is it all Jordan Howard? Is he the only guy left?
Yeah, I think so. Like, I don't know.
He's been a healthy scratch the last 3 weeks. So
right. It's like,
not anymore.
I can't run any further than 2 yards, guys. Just like, I'm a goal line guy.
I think Jordan Howard is underrated. I really liked him in Philadelphia last
Jordan
year.
Howard, dude. Like,
yeah, he's good. I don't know why they're doing this. I mean, I guess just because they really like their young guys like Gaskin. But, like, I mean, now Gaskin's out. This is why you didn't expect to have Gaskin. You know, this is a perfect opportunity for Jordan Howard to showcase why he can still be relevant in the NFL and still contribute to other teams. So hopefully he gets to go somewhere else next year. I think he's on a 2-year deal, though.
Got it. So now moving on to Sunday Night Football. I don't know if you guys know this, but it's Drew Brees versus Tom Brady this week on Sunday Night Football. I don't know if you've been watching NBC. That's all they've been promoting. The Buccaneers are a 4-point favorite at home. The over-under is at 51. Drew Brees has missed in practice the last couple of days. So we'll kick it off to our guest, Colt. Thoughts and who you got in Saints-Bucks?
I feel like I'm going to pick the Saints, and the only reason why is because my team in fantasy has been snake-bitten with injuries and bad luck this year. Patient zero has been Michael Thomas. I just traded him away, so knowing how like my team is going to do, he's probably just going to go off, and they're just going to win. So as you can tell, I'm very bitter about this. I don't like Michael. I was very excited to draft him this year, and I was like, oh, cool, I got Michael Thomas. I don't have to ever look at my lineup. Nope, you're just going to get in fights and hurt your ankles. So I do think like that the Saints will find a way. Where is it? It's at Tampa. Yeah. Honestly, that's literally my only basis for picking the Saints. It's just because I feel like now that Michael Thomas is coming back and like just the mojo of my team that he'll just have like a great game. But like that's my only logic. Like other than that, like I feel like it points towards Tampa Bay. But there you go.
I like the logic with that pick. Joe, thoughts on who you got with Saints-Bucks?
Yeah, I just feel like the Saints have been like a lot more dysfunctional this year than they have, really in recent memory. I mean, Michael Thomas getting in fights, I know the Devon Wims thing was, on Wims, but I mean, Gardner Johnson had a role to play in that as well. Like, they've just been, kind of like, I just don't really like the vibe I've been getting from the Saints this year. And now Drew Brees, injured with, I think with the shoulder, he was missing practice, I mean, and he needs these reps with Michael Thomas, who's been out all year. So I just can't trust the Saints right now. I like what I've seen from the Buccaneers and Tom Brady. Antonio Brown is back this game. So it'll be really interesting to see how he is. I mean, I think Chris Godwin is also expected to play. So, I mean, now you got Godwin, you got Mike Evans, you got Antonio Brown, Gronkowski's there. I mean, I think that, and the Saints defense has been vulnerable this year. They just haven't made the plays that people expected. So I think that the Bucs are going to win this game. I think that, we could see even more dysfunction from the Saints afterwards, if they do lose.
Yeah, I'm going with the Bucs as well. I think that defense is just too good against the Saints offense like this. Yes, they do have Michael Thomas back, but Drew Brees, if he does play outside, I said this last week, is not the same as in the Dome. In the Dome this year, he's still not looking good. Now you're putting him outside where he's already struggling. But I did pick up Taysom Hill just in case Drew Brees is out. He's on ESPN, he's a tight end, so I could do kind of cheat the system and get 2 quarterbacks in if it is announced. So I'm going with the Buccaneers. I just think the offense is clicking and the defense is going to hold Drew Brees and really limit him. And the Saints won week 1. The Buccaneers do need to get their revenge so they can work out the tiebreaker should it come down to that for the division crown and potentially the number 1 seed in the NFC. So I got to write down Bucks for me. Bucks. There we go.
It might be a Jameis Winston revenge game. I mean, it might not.
It could be a Jameis Winston.
Jameis Winston comes in on a Sunday night. Oh my God, that would be so sick.
I would immediately bet a pick 6 for the Bucks.
Right, like hammer the picks.
All right, now the last game of the week. We're moving to Monday Night Football. A couple of weeks ago, we thought that this would just be a dominant blowout by the New England Patriots going on the road to the New York Jets. Yes, we got to watch the New York Jets on Monday Night Football, but the Patriots are a 6.5-point road favorite. Over under is 41.5. And like I said, a couple of weeks ago, I would have picked Patriots by double digits, 2 scores, 3 scores. But now it's kind of like, ugh. So we'll kick it off to Joe. Thoughts and who you got in Patriots Jets?
Yeah, I'm still going to go with the Patriots there. I mean, at the end of the day, it's Bill Belichick versus Adam Gase. And that is a like the biggest mismatch I've ever seen on paper. So, yeah, I mean, I think that this Patriots defense, while they haven't been as elite, they're still going to be able to, just shut down this Jets offense completely. And I think Josh McDaniels and Cam Newton and their offense are going to be able to do enough. It's not going to be pretty. Maybe it's like a 20-10 game or something like that. But the Patriots are going to win this game, and the Jets are, I just don't think, really going to be competitive at all.
Yeah, I'm not going to talk about the Jets. Patriots are winning this game. Bill Belichick is light years ahead of Adam Gase. Colt, do you have any fun new additions to this Patriots-Jets games coming in your head, or have we said it all? Are you going with the Jets?
No, probably not. I mean, yeah, it's just the Patriots. I think you said it best, Joe. Like, you said Bill Belichick versus Adam Gase, and I literally started laughing. I was like, oh my God. It's bad. Like, yeah, I mean, maybe you might even see another Cam Newton benching, maybe, if they're like kind of close. Like, and they still got Stidham as the backup, right? Like, they just haven't.
Stidham, Hoyer, yep.
Yeah, I mean, just like watching Cam and like listening to him, like, I wouldn't be surprised if like they just like bench him at some point. If it's like if they're not blowing him out or he doesn't look good at all, and they're just like, all right, screw it. Like going in the second half of the year, like Cam. That would be my only, I guess, like topic to kind of watch that game. Yeah, I just think it'll be. I think Patriots.
Absolutely. Well, hey, that'll wrap up Week 9 of the NFL season. Colt, thank you so much for coming on and being our guest picker for this week. Do you have any final words or thoughts on Week 9 of the NFL season?
No, man. I mean, first off, thanks for having me, guys. I really appreciate it. This is a lot of fun. I hope to be on again soon. It's crazy to think we're already in Week 9, like already halfway through the season. It hurts. Like, it pains me. And it sucks. But, yeah, I mean, I think you guys are doing a great job what you're doing. Keep up the good work. And, yeah, let's hope I'm wrong on my Colts pick. So,
I hope so, too. Joe, any final thoughts going into Week 9 of the NFL season?
Yeah, I mean, Colt, thanks for being here. We're glad to have you. Really, glad to have, so many different people and get to, meet a lot of different people and hear a lot of different opinions. I think that's, one of the coolest thing about this podcast. So, very thankful for all that. It sucks that it's going by fast. I mean, we're going to keep doing this. We're going to do this for the playoffs too, right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah,
we're doing it for the playoffs. We're doing it for the Super Bowl. Joe, we're going to have to look at our preseason predictions as well. Hopefully the Jaguars are 1-15.
Yeah, we'll see. Hopefully the Broncos can sneak into the playoffs. So like I picked them too. So we'll see. Yeah, I mean, God, did not expect the Eagles Week 8 at the bye to be 3-4-1 right now. So my God, like this has just been such a weird year. So I'm not exactly sad that it's closing down and we're going next year, but I'll definitely miss football when it's gone, so it can go a little bit slower.
Absolutely. Well, cool. Thank you so much again for coming on. If you want to be a guest picker, make sure you like this video, comment your pick of the week. Could be straight up, spread, over, under, whatever you want, and then subscribe to the channel. This is a new channel. It's Timmy B Sports, so make sure you follow me. Ring the bell to be notified when all these videos do come out. Everybody, enjoy Week 9 of the NFL season. We will see you middle of the week next week for our recap. Colt, thanks again for coming on, but peace.